Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has to do with your abilities, Nurse.
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never be a doctor, no matter what my skills. I could make a decision that could save a life, but oh no, that's unbecoming conduct.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, Nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Do you require medical assistance, Nurse?
I will be fine, as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
It's here again. I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood boil with the fever.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent commotion here?
Many things can happen under cover of night, Dr. Reed. But I took no part in this massacre.
But did you see or hear anything?
I can't say I did. But the smell of fresh blood almost made me faint, Doctor.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Time has lost its effect on me.
Fear
But the
and
suffering
disgust
continues.
on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Can you tell me anything about recent events at the hospital?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really. I think I caught something in this bloody hospital. I swear I'm dead, yet smiling inside, Dr. Reed.
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it. Damage is done.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
What on earth happened here?
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
It's locked, all right. It's locked. It's locked, all right.
I wonder what your last words would be.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Will this shift never end?
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a disgrace. How on earth can patients be attacked in their own rooms?
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No, I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I had shouting coming from the first floor. I was asleep when it started.
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but you've done enough already. The rest is up to me now.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then the nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reed.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls. But you couldn't know, could you?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm afraid I do. Like everyone in this hospital. It's a sad state of affairs when even the hospital workers are worried about disease.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. Well, thanks, anyway.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Oh, Jonathan. I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
And I thought last summer's epidemic was difficult.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Nurse Brannigan has been recently accused of neglecting her professional duties. Tell me what you really think about it.
This kind of protest is nothing but elitist bullshit. I trust Nurse Brannigan with my life. She has what it takes to be a great doctor.
Do you really think she could be the next Elizabeth Blackwell?
Believe me, Dr. Reed, a time will come when skill and skill alone will determine who can be a physician and who cannot.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a tragedy, pure and simple. The hospital is meant to be a safe haven to all. We failed the people who trusted us with their care.
Do you think I should not have brought Mr. Hampton back here?
It's not your fault. You rescued that poor soul. It was the Christian thing to do. But we should have noticed his instability.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Hey, Doc.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
All I know is I ain't letting anyone rip my throat out in my sleep. I found myself a nice blade, Doc. I'm ready.
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
Of course. The sooner I'm able to leave this damn place, the better.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox. Hello again, Mr. Blight. I'm happy to see Mr. Thatcher is safe, for now.
I'm eternally grateful, Doctor. We were total strangers and you helped us anyway. Can't thank you enough, sir.
always welcome at the Pembroke Hospital. As a former officer, I'll be honored to welcome a fellow veteran.
I'm not giving up on bringing Oswald back to the hospital. I just need to convince him that he needs some help.
Perhaps he needs to reach that decision by himself.
Could you speak to him? He doesn't usually listen to doctors, but perhaps because you've been through it, you can talk him round.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
No thanks, sir. Unless you're able to get rid of every rat in London.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself. Hello again, Mr. Thatcher. Do you feel any better now?
Yes, this neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss, but to me it smells like the purest mountain air.
Mr. Thatcher, do you have a job?
No. Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand what you mean. I was a soldier too.
No. Nobody can truly understand what I've gone through.
Why were you locked in that sewer? What happened?
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got chased by these fucking wankers and had to barricade myself in, despite my claustrophobia.
Why did you run? What was the reason for your argument?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't stand being closed in. Makes me feel like I'm suffocating.
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis?
That's what the bloody doctor said. But I don't want to go to a hospital to get checked again. I'll deal with it my own way.
Oswald, why did you not go to the Pembroke Hospital to seek medical help?
I don't trust doctors. All they care about was their careers and processes. I won't be locked in any room again by anyone.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go away by itself. You need professional help.
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime. Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is fresh air.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've done, but I've never felt comfortable with doctors.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not like other doctors you may have consulted with.
It is true. You risked your life to save me, after all. It would be impolite to refuse your counsel.
Do you want to talk about why you have this fear of being enclosed, Mr. Thatcher?
No, I really don't.
An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted in a specific event. Perhaps it would help to talk about it.
Well, Doctor, take a guess then, if you're so interested in my case.
When I rescued you, you expressed joy at seeing the sky again. So I'm inclined to believe you were trapped or buried somehow. Maybe during a shelling.
Jeez, you're good, Doc. You're really good.
Go on, please. Tell me more about it.
Newton and I were trapped in a circulation tunnel after an artillery attack. We were buried alive for several days without ever knowing if we'd be found.
Oswald, tell me about what happened when you were buried in that tunnel with Newton.
It was more than dark. It was black as pitch. Hours seemed like days, and days like months. Oh, the terror, the shameful thoughts. Lord have mercy.
What you endured was terrifying. It would have completely destroyed weaker men.
It did not destroy Newton.
Shameful thoughts. Tell me about them.
At some point, I don't remember which day, but when I thought we'd never be rescued, that this would be our end, I thought about I thought about...
Say it, Mr. Thatcher. If you ever want to heal, you have to say it.
I thought about what I could do to survive. Just for a few more days. I thought about killing Newton. Killing and eating him. The man I fucking love.
Tell me about your true feelings for Newton.
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't imagine life without him.
Why should you be ashamed?
I'm not, I said. But Newton sees it differently.
I admire your honesty. It takes courage to stand up to society. The world needs people like you to create change.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches, looking death in the face every day. I speak plain. I speak my mind.
Have you always been this straightforward?
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer, my only regret was I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again. I love him, that's all.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself. Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
How do you feel about Oswald Thatcher? You are more than friends, aren't you?
I love him. I love Oswald. We knew we wouldn't survive the war without each other. But I am terrified, Doctor.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well... You know... I never thought I'd love a man.
Enjoy your love. And enjoy life as long as you can, Mr. Blight. Don't let anyone tell you who you should love or how you should love them.
I appreciate your kind words, sir. But it ain't that easy. It's all so new to me.
You and Oswald were buried alive during the war. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It was last summer. A shell hit our trench and we were buried for a week.
Oswald seemed far more traumatized than you by the event.
It wasn't the first time it happened to me. And surviving it again gave me strength. You believe that?
How did you survive for a week?
Luckily for us, there were rations and water in the tunnel. It was an outpost, see? Since then, Oswald's not keen on being inside for too long.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
No thanks, sir. Unless you're able to get rid of every rat in London.
You and Oswald were buried alive during the war. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It was last summer. A shell hit our trench and we were buried for a week.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
We were supposed to be safe. Oh, what a fool.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Can you tell me anything about recent events in the hospital?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
Miss Jones's body has gone missing?
Yes. The body was brought here this morning, and now it's gone.
Who could have stolen a corpse?
That's exactly what I asked myself for the whole day. Who could do such a thing? These are terrible and shameful times, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical attention?
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy company, even if the quiet can be appreciated.
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
I met him in New York once.
If only there were more of us, with less resignation and more determination.
I know I can count on you. I wish I could say the same for the others.
You look exhausted. You're pushing yourself too hard. You don't have to bear the burdens of this hospital.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see this city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Goodbye, Milton.
Last summer's epidemic was difficult. Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that cabin.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
I'll send you fucking up!